Hey guys, Ailoupup here. Today is my March 2020 wrap up. I had kind of a weird reading month, and honestly, I don't know how better way to explain it. I ended up by the end of the month in a reading slump, and I only read 4 books, which is normal for me, but 2 of them were audiobooks, 2 of them were physical books. All of them were 5 stars, and 3 of them were rereads. The first book I read was one of the rereads and an audiobook, and that was Terrier by Tamora Pierce. I won't talk too much about this one because I feel like this is one of the books that I talk about a lot on the channel, or really just the turtle books in general are books that I tend to talk about a lot. Terrier is the first book in the Rebecca Cooper series, following her in her training as a dog of the city. The Rebecca Cooper series is like a prequel series to the turtle books in general, and Becca is an ancestor to a character in a later series. I wanted to reread the series, but I've read them a ton in physical form and decided that this time I kind of wanted to reread them as an audiobook since I've never done that. Unfortunately, I didn't really care for the narrator that much, although she did grow on me a little bit towards the end. She just sounded rather robotic and very slow until I had sped her up a little bit, which is not something I normally do. The audiobook itself I gave a 3, although the book itself still gets a 5 from me. The next book I read was a new book to me, and it honestly quickly became one of my favorites, and that is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I've heard that this was a fairly good series, and I can see why people love it, even just in the first book. It follows a young boy named Fitz through his young kid years and early teenage years as he goes through life training to be an assassin. I have never really read an assassin training series before, and I loved this. It was really just Fitz going through his day-to-day life, going from class to class, and honestly, I didn't mind at all. It never felt slow, and it was never really boring, even though at times it didn't really feel like a lot happened. It just never felt boring to me. I loved Fitz as a character, and I loved pretty much all of the characters except for one, although he is technically a character you're not supposed to like anyways. Like the other books on this list, I gave this a 5, and I'm really looking forward to continuing the series. So that was my new book of the month, and the next 2 books are rereads. The third book being The Laughing Corpse by Laurel K. Hamilton, and there are a lot of books in this series. I think I've read up to the 3rd or 4th book in the series, though I'm not really sure. I don't really remember a whole lot. Similar to the first book, this book follows Anita on another case with zombies, vampires, and voodoo witches. It's paranormal and it's pretty short, although the other books I believe do get longer later in the series. The last book I read was my last audiobook of the month, and that was New Spring by Robert Jordan. I've been having trouble trying to decide if I wanted to reread the series as an audiobook or read them in physical form, since I've only ever read the entire series through once. And I think I've decided that I'll probably just do both. This is the prequel to the series, although it's not really necessary for you to have read the entire series through before you read this one. You'll probably get a little bit more out of it if you read the series first, but it it's not really necessary. It follows Maureen and Lan at the beginning of their quest and kind of gives like a little introduction to the world and the quest itself that are in later books. Those were all the books I read in the month of March. Let me know in the comments what you read, and I will see you next time. Bye!